Hey guys, this is Nate from a few days anyways, but I hope you guys have really had a great week of training. I know that it definitely requires a lot of effort, a lot of time to put into preparing for your races. But today's video, I kind of just want to talk on some of the things that you really need to continue to focus on to run a faster 10K. The 10K is more of an anaerobic event because it's much shorter than the half marathon and marathon distance, but it's still long enough that you can still have the luxury of making some small mistakes in the race and be able to make up for it by the end of the race. And I always talk about in a lot of the videos that I make the importance of being patient with your preparation and knowing that results in our middle to long distance events take time. I mean, nobody gets great at anything without goofing it up along the way. There's an entrepreneur by the name of T. Harv Eker who said it best. He said, "Every master was once a disaster." And I really think that makes sense because, I didn't just jump into the sport running the times that I ran when I was competing as a marathoner, middle distance athlete. The first time I ran the mile in high school, I ran it in 5:30. And it took years to get to a point where I could hold 5:19 mile pace for 26.2 miles. So you really have to be patient with yourself. Know that big results come with time, with effort, and with failure. If you want to run a faster 10K, you have to continue to work on whatever goal race pace that you're aiming for. That's really the key. You've got to spend some time training at closer to your 3K to 5K race pace effort on the track or on the roads to get that 10K race pace that you're aiming for to feel less aggressive. The 10K is only 6.2 miles, so the race is over before you know it. But you want to spend time training at paces that are much faster than the goal race pace that you're trying to race at. So you teach your body to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. You become very, very efficient at minimizing the amount of lactic acid that's building up in your bloodstream while you're racing. And that's a big problem for a lot of athletes that either haven't adequately trained sufficiently at paces that are quick enough for longer periods of time. They get very, very discouraged. They start to question themselves. They start to say, well, maybe I just can't run any faster than I've run, or maybe I'm too old, or they think of all these what ifs. And I understand, because I too dealt with a lot of doubt over the years, thinking that maybe the marathon wasn't for me. I had run decent times for the 10K up to the half marathon distance. My personal best for the 10K is 31:09. And I'd run a 1:07:06 half marathon, but years ago my best time was only, and I say only because it's still a competitive time, was 2:43:36 for the marathon. So I'm thinking to myself, why, if I can run 50:54 for 10 miles and 1:07:06 for the half marathon, why on earth can't I go and at least run under 2 hours and 22 minutes, which was the time I was kind of aiming for? And again, it just comes down to persistence and knowing that you have the confidence, you're putting in the work, and you're going to get the results that you want in due time. It's becoming impatient and second-guessing yourself and wanting results too quick, where you start to, that's where you start to create issues with your preparation for the 10K. How to run a faster 10K comes down to, again, consistent action on a weekly basis. You have a plan, you know what you need to be doing, and following through and staying consistent in your action on a daily basis. That's why I've created running courses. I've created training programs on RunDreamAchieve.com that I highly recommend, because it takes the guesswork out of your preparation. You know what you need to be doing on a daily, monthly basis leading up to your 10K event, and you don't have to just wonder what should I be doing, how many miles should I be running, or how many kilometers should I be putting in. How to run a faster 10K also comes down to not only preparation, but knowing how to pace yourself in the race. Don't go out too fast in the first couple miles of that race. Nobody's going to win the 10K race at the 5K point. It doesn't matter if you go out and you're at 15:30 through the 5K point. You know, if you're trying to run 31 flat, you had better be able to know how to turn and burn on that last 5K. You do not want to make the mistake of going out far too fast or way too aggressive in the first few miles of that race, and then get to the last few kilometers or the last few miles of the race and just shut down. Again, you've got to be confident, but your confidence is going to grow in your training. Make the mistakes in training first. Screw up in training. Go out and run at paces that are way too fast for your own good in training, if need be, to test yourself to see how fast you can run or how long you can last in training. That way, when you get to the race, you've tested yourself, you've prepared well enough, and that you know for yourself that you can handle the paces that you're going after in the race. If somebody makes a surge in the race and tries to break you, then you'll know what you need to do. You'll be able to react because you've been able to sustain paces that are much, much faster than what you're trying to do, what you're trying to hold over the 10 kilometer, 6.2 mile distance. So again, it comes down to just persistent action and knowing that big results in this sport take time. Do not be impatient with yourself. I can tell you from my own background that I experienced setbacks too. I had DNFs, not in the 10K, but in the marathon distance. I've went out too fast in the 10K. I've learned my lesson that way as well. I didn't start running faster times over the 10 kilometer distance until I was really hammering, my leg turnover and working that speed. That's why in my training programs, I always have strides built in. I have specific track workouts that are built for athletes that are trying to go after specific 10K times. Most of my running courses are for athletes that are training for the half marathon and marathon, and I have training programs that are built for athletes that are training for the 5K all the way up to the marathon distance. So there's a lot of resources on RunDreamAchieve.com, so definitely go there. Though that will help you as well in terms of how to run a faster 10K, is that you want to have those strategies. You want to find out what is working best for you, what has not worked in the past, and steer clear of that. Do not continue to make the same mistake over and over. If you're having fuel issues in your race, practice running for longer periods of time in training, holding a water bottle. Sit out water bottles every 3 miles of your long run. Grab that bottle and hold it in your hand for a longer period of time while you're running. Get used to drinking rather than just sipping in the race. That's a big mistake that a lot of athletes, including myself, made for a lot of years. I would not drink sufficient amounts of fluid, and I was not taking in enough calories in my races as well. You got to also keep in mind, the 10K is still a relatively long race. It's not like the mile or the 800 or track race. So still, hydration is still important. I would still take in a gel even in a 10K. That'll way that you get an additional 150 calories, about 100 to 150 calories into your bloodstream, get an immediate sugar boost while you're racing. It really plays an important part in the longer races, like the half marathon or the marathon distance. That's where really you need to be taking in sufficient fluid, sufficient calories, because if you neglect that piece, you can be as motivated as you want. If your body shuts down, and it will if you do not focus on this, it can really ruin a lot of hard work that you've put in. So in terms of training and preparing for a 10K, you want to get on the track. You want to practice running closer to your mile to 3K race pace. Get used to turning your legs over. Get used to those really hard bursts where you're training you're closer to your VO2 max workouts. And I always stress that. Do one VO2 max workout per week where you're training at closer to your maximum heart rate, sometimes even above your maximum heart rate for a certain amount of time. Again, that's going to teach your body to become very, very efficient at clearing lactic acid faster than it's building up. That's the key. You want to be able to clear it faster than it's building up while you're racing. It's when you are accumulating so much lactic acid that your body starts to shut down, your muscle functioning starts to shut down. And it's the hydrogen ion portion of lactic acid, which is really the culprit of muscle shutdown. So again, if the faster you train The more patient you are, the more persistent you are in your preparation, the longer you run. You also want to get used to running much longer distances than just the 10K. You know, get used to running 3 times that amount. You know, go out and do your long runs. Get out to around 18 miles. Run 3 times the distance of what you're trying to race at. And I guarantee you 6.2 miles is going to feel like a joke to you, because you've trained sufficiently at not only distances that are far longer than the race distance, but you've also trained at paces that are much faster than you're trying to race at for the 10K distance. So I hope these tips have been helpful for you. I know there's so much to learn regarding middle distance to long distance success. There's so many different aspects. Don't forget your mental training. Do not neglect mental training. It's sometimes even more important. In my opinion, it's more important than physical training. We've become so focused on track workouts and tempo runs and long runs. Getting in the gym, still very important. Focus on your nutrition, but the mental aspect of preparation. Visualize yourself doing what you are dreaming about doing. It may not happen for the next few months or the next few years, but you have to continue to visualize. Get your subconscious mind focused on what you want, and it will bring that result to you. But you have to be willing to do the work, to be persistent, and to not let up. Too many people quit too early in this sport, and they fail to realize their true potential because they let a setback or a few setbacks or a few bad races or a few bad workouts or something in life to get in the way of their success. Do not be that way. Stay persistent. Reach out to me anytime. You have the resources, RunDreamAchieve.com, NutritionGeeks.com. If you're focused on your nutrition, I hope you are, because that's a big piece of middle distance to long distance success as well. There are so many resources that are on RunDreamAchieve.com and NutritionGeeks.com for you. Those are really important pieces of information that will help you to run, in terms of how to run a faster 10K, to get you set up for success, get you to the finish line, get you to the start line healthy, and get you to the finish line in record pace, record time. That's what I want for you. So hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope this video has been helpful. And if you have any questions, if there's anything I missed, something that you that's been giving you issues over the past few weeks, the past few months, feel free to leave me a comment below this video. I always do my best to answer questions, and I wish you guys all the best. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.